Hello and welcome to Improve Your Voice. My name's Darren McStay and today I'm going to be taking a look at the voice of Marilyn Monroe.
Well, I used to long for it.
I know I've been promising this video for a while now, and there's a lot of you out there that have been asking me for how you can develop your voice to sound more feminine and higher, as well as the people that ask for a lower voice. That I've been getting a lot more messages from people who would like to develop a higher, tone and a lighter, easier kind of way of speaking. So I thought Marilyn Monroe would be a really good person to review. It was suggested by one of you guys out there. I'm really sorry, I haven't really been keeping up to date with the names of the people that have been suggesting these videos, because I've got such a massive list now, and like they span over so many videos that I can't really find who's written what. So apologies if I'm not kind of shouting out the names of the people that are suggesting these videos, but you know who you are, so make yourself known. Now, say hi in the comments and we can congratulate you and everything for recommending the voice. But anyway, Marilyn Monroe was an interesting one and a difficult one to find, because it's such a long time ago that she was living and working, and there's not so many interviews to be found online. And I prefer to use interviews as opposed to actual performance, because it's a different, we can get a lot more from it. There's a lot more naturalness to the way that's speaking. So I found this interview on YouTube and we should just take a little look at it before we move on.
I liked it very much, although I like most of Milton's pictures.
Well, now, your picture has been on the cover of almost all popular magazines, hasn't it?
No, not the Ladies' Home Journal.
That you would like, would you?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I used to long for it. I used to appear on, when I was modeling, on men's magazine covers, such as, I don't know, Squint, Peep, Take a Peep, all those things.
So the first thing that I notice about Marilyn is that she's very light and delicate and precise with the way she speaks. Her mouth is very small and she uses it very articulately, but she doesn't overemphasize words. She's not heightened, she's not pushing. She's just very comfortable and relaxed to use as little movement from her mouth as possible. So she's very considered. She takes her time and forms the sounds and articulation very precisely.
I was working on a set in Hollywood, and one of the look writers came over to the set one day and asked me if I'd like to look at some pictures in a portfolio, and I said yes, I'd like to. And I saw the most beautiful pictures I'd ever seen. And I said I'd like for this photographer to photograph me.
It's almost very similar to RP, but of course, she's got from the US and she had an American accent, but she must have studied some articulation and speech which was closer linked to RP in the British language, because the way she pronounces her words are so kind of forward in the mouth and less nasally like most US accents are. And so that as a trained actress, she probably has developed that, and it's been the way that she identified and the way that she she spoke to the world, the way she expressed herself. And with this, something that happens is because we have different resonators in our body, and we're able to move up and down them once we know and have enough flexibility within our instrument to do so. But she seems to be very stuck up in a higher resonator, more up in her head, and she uses placement, an air placement if you like, and a zone which is kind of more up here. So even though she's already a woman and I'm not a woman, but she's really using the higher notes, and it's light and it flows and it's airy, and she really tries to keep the articulation small and keeps the sound up here, very high.
I used to appear on, when I was modeling, on men's magazine covers, such as, I don't know, Squint, Peep, Take a Peep, all those things.
And as I said about the airiness, is that you can hear actually a couple of times where she finishes a sentence and you can hear her breathing still.
I was working on a set in Hollywood, and
it's very up here. Oh, And so we can hear how breathy she is, because when she stops putting her vocal folds together, the air still comes out, and there's still a little bit of restriction there. So it's not so breathy, but it's airy, and she's producing a lot of air and this higher sound. So her voice just seems to be a bit more floaty. And it's almost like if you were to sigh, it can bring you down low. But she's sighing, oh, and then she's speaking up there. So if you try to sigh, hi. So if you try to sigh high and keep maybe up in almost falsetto for a man, but for a woman it can be more natural to do that. And I think she stayed in that position and had the light articulation, the breathiness, and the airiness and the floatiness, but very articulate and very small. So those people that would like to maybe find ways of having a higher voice or using something higher in your register, it's not a bad idea to use your imagination to consider zones. So if we think of the belly as a low zone, maybe this is like an area where you can imagine sound coming from. Then there's your chest, which is a bit more fuller and less bassy, and something happens if you use your imagination to imagine that's where the sound's coming from. Then something happens, you drop down and your body adjusts, and you can mentally adjust your physicality to start producing sound a different way. And if you brought it up into your throat, something else might happen. It's going to be different for everyone, but using your imagination is very helpful here. And then if you just think that everything's happening in your mouth, then that might actually send air forward. It might pull it back into your throat there. But then if you think about it being your head, somehow it kind of brings it up into the higher register. And that's just by using your imagination. You're doing something physically, but there may be more than one way to get in there. And of course, for Marilyn, it's the breathiness, it's the articulation, it's the lightness, and the very conscious awareness about the words she chooses and how she pronounces them. So that's not a Marilyn Monroe accent. I'm not going through her exact precise delivery, but I think what we can take from Marilyn is hopefully answering some of your questions about how you can get into a higher register and maybe lift your voice so it sounds less masculine and maybe more feminine. And this is one way you can do it. You can use your imagination to pitch it up there, or you can just try and move the air up more into your nose but let it out of your mouth. Another way we can do this is by thinking of sirening. So if we say something, that at the end, we can get to that sound, something, and play around with that note. And so if we take it to the highest we can, something, and then speak up there. For me, it's of course falsetto, but maybe for a woman, it wouldn't be. It would be a more natural sound. And I'm not suggesting everyone speaks like this, but it's a way that you can get your voice to be higher. So it's just a little bit of fun. There's my brief review of Marilyn Monroe. Hopefully someone can take something from this video and you don't think I've been trying to do an impression, because that wasn't my aim here. For those people who would like to learn more about using your voice, you can always come and check out vocabilities.com, where I have online courses and such that could help you progress and improve your voice to be a better speaker or singer. Hey, my name's Darren McStay. Thank you for watching. This is vocabilities.com, aka Improve Your Voice. And until the next time, look after your voice.